Hello and welcome to ACS Golf and this week's review where I'm looking at a putter, specifically this, the Taylormade Spider Ghost from 2011. Now the reason I picked this up is because I've actually never reviewed a Spider putter for the channel. They're extremely popular. Obviously the two best players in the world currently, Scotty Scheffler and Rory McIlroy, are both using them and both cleaning up. Let's be honest, I think they've got 6 wins between them this year, so you know, already very impressive. And so I wanted to give one a go for the channel, but I wanted to try and find one perhaps that was a little bit cheaper, because they do hold their value really well. And the question is, can you go a little bit cheaper, get an older one and still have some really good performance? So that's why I picked this one up from 2011. As always, what we're going to do is we're going to have a closer look at the club, come back in here, go through the technology that's in it, get down to the course. Actually, I'm on the putting green. I'm going to show you a few parts with it, going to discuss the feel of it, what I thought of it, how easy it is to align, etc. I mean, this thing is an absolute unit, so it's definitely easy to align, and just generally my thoughts about it. And then we'll come back in here for the ACS Golf Scale and my overall thoughts about Taylormade Spiders. All right, let's have a closer look at this club. So there you go, a closer look at it, and it is chunky. It is big, as you would expect. You know, this is ultimate forgiveness, large mallet. You know, the whole point is to provide as much forgiveness as possible and get the ball rolling as well as possible as well with that pure roll insert there. So yes, it is big, but it doesn't feel that heavy though, and that's a good thing, because sometimes we can get really big putters, by the way, they feel quite heavy and quite cumbersome. With this, it's actually quite light. I quite enjoyed the weighting of it, so yes, very good there. And you will see as well on the closer looks, all these little marks, paint chips and stuff like that. All Taylormade Spiders do it. Even the brand new ones, for some reason, they just get chipped really easily. The paint cracks off them, so it's quite rare to find one in really good condition. And I would say from 2011, this is in pretty good condition, to be fair. So yeah, happy days with that one. But anyway, moving on to the technology that is in this club. So we have a white finish that stands out against grass greens for perfect aim. So that's why this is white. Up to you if you believe that or not. I mean, I do like the alignment aids on the top there. You know, you sort of got sort of a little bit like the 2-ball technology there from sort of Callaway there, but then you have like a sight line as well. I mean, this is all about making putting easier, this golf club. So yeah, really good sight lines on the top of it. And I guess maybe the white does help. I mean, personally looking down on it, you know, I have used black putters before, anything like that. Not a huge difference for me, to be honest. Never really noticed the fact that it's supposed to be white to make it easy to see, but I guess it probably does, to be fair. And you know, it is a sort of matte white, so it's not glaring in the sun, which is good. You can customize feel with this with movable weight technology. So at the back there, you have 2 weight ports in there, and the idea is you could move those weights, you know, change them to really get this putter dialed into you. So maybe you want a heavier putter, so more weights in the back, or maybe you tend to close the face more, so they could adjust the weights there to help keep that face open in your swing, well, your putting swing. So yeah, nice little nifty little bit there as well. And also obviously having big chunky weights at the back there at the toe and the heel just helps increase the MOI of this club. So on off-centered hits, it keeps the ball going in the same direction. Might not have the same speed, but it keeps the ball going in the same direction. So that is also a good feature, which is the next bit. So perimeter weighting boosts MOI for consistent distance control, as I mentioned there. You know, the whole point is having this weight on the outside increases the MOI, so off-centered hits, it still goes straight, doesn't veer off to left or right. The only thing about it is you might lose a little bit of distance, but at least it's online. You know, if you hit it hard enough, you know, it's all hopefully going. And then finally, we have the pure roll insert. So there you go. So pure roll inserts, gets the ball rolling smooth with forward spin. Also gives it a little bit of a softer feel with this insert. You know, they've had pure roll now in their golf clubs for ages, Taylormade. It's definitely a feature that stays there. You can get different ones, so do be aware some are slightly firmer than others. But this is just, you know, the standard one for the time, and it is very soft off the face, I will say that. So there you go. There's all the technology that is in this club, as you can expect. Not a huge amount because it is a putter. You know, I'm not talking about aerodynamics or anything like that. You know, you got your insert, you got your weightings for high MOI, perfect. You got your alignment aids. Nice they thought about the white as well, but there you go. Also, just a shout out for the head cover. Again, if you find one in good condition, it's quite cool. A magnet. I love magnets. Velcros are not, I hate Velcro putters covers because they just end up going in the end. So yeah, magnets, great. Really nice head cover there, to be honest. All right, now let's get down to the putting green. I'm going to give you my overall thoughts about this club when I'm using it, and then we'll come back here for the ACS Golf Scale. All right, see you in a bit. Here I am down at Silvermere's putting green, testing the Taylormade Ghost Spider. Now, the first thing I'll say about this club is it is big. I mean, this is probably maybe one of the biggest spiders you can buy, apart from the one that Brian Harmon was using. I think that one, he has now changed to the new Zero Torque one, but the one he was using before that was absolutely mammoth. And I think that was a little bit bigger than this one, but this is big, which is great. You know, if you want confidence, you want something to help you with alignment, you want maximum MOI, this club is for you. Now, when it comes down to the pure roll and the roll of the ball, really, really nice. That insert there works lovely to get the ball rolling head over head, you know, and it works really well. There's never at any point where I hit a putt and I thought, oh no, that doesn't look right at all. So that's really good. It feels very soft, I will say, that insert, and obviously being a big mallet as well, they tend to be a little bit softer than the blade, as that, you know, that weight is spread around. However, not the end of the world. You know, for me, yes, it does mean distance control. Definitely from far away putts is quite difficult. I prefer something a little bit firmer, but when you're really close, you know, sort of 6 feet around that green, you really do find it, well, I find it easy with this type of putter to get those balls in the hole, which you can see in this video. And you can see there, you know, longer ones I do tend to miss because I hit it too lightly because it's so soft, and then when I try and put a little bit of power on it, it does come out a little bit hotter. When it comes down to balance, you know, really well balanced putter, as you'd expect from Taylormade. Quite light as well. I was actually surprised how light it was. Thought, you know, being the size of it, it could be very heavy, but it definitely was on the lighter side, which is perfect. You know, it just meant that you could really dial in that control, which you need with this type of putter, you know, and also, you know, you need in general. If the putter's too heavy, you know, it could just go shooting off. So yes, very well balanced and light feeling. Some might try this and say it feels the heaviest thing in the world, but for me, yeah, I definitely felt it was definitely a lighter putter. As mentioned, you know, looking down on top of it, you know, did feel, you know, I really could align the ball up great, which I like. You know, that's why I use the mallet putter, to be fair, at the moment. I mean, that was a shocking one. I went way too hard on that, and it absolutely flew down the hill, which is me, not the putter, by the way. That was definitely me. But I like that. You know, I don't align the ball up. I always second guess if I line the ball up. I tend to use a putter. That's why I use a mallet putter myself for that forgiveness, and definitely did help with those side marks on the top of it. You know, it gave me confidence. So there you go. And it worked exactly as I expected to. Big, forgiving, soft feeling mallet putter, pure roll, worked really well. Got that ball going end over end. So yeah, happy with its performance. Now let's jump straight into the ACS Golf Scales. Remember, we got 5 categories. We got distance control, looks, price, forgiveness, and feel. 5 being the best, 1 being the worst. Now let's go into distance control. So distance control, I've given this a 4 out of 5. Feeling maybe that's a little bit harsh. Maybe it should be 4.5 out of 5. There was never really a shot where I hit where I've gone, oh, hold on, that's gone a lot too far, or, you know, that hasn't gone far enough. You know, what's happened there? Definitely very responsive putter. So if I put a bad stroke on, I know it's definitely me. But I think some people probably struggle with how soft this is. So that's why, you know, I've given it that distance control like a 4 out of 5, because it is a soft putter. So, you know, you really got to put some power in it to get the ball moving, especially from a long distance putt, which can make distance control a little bit difficult from further out putts. When you're close, perfect, but just for those long putts, you know, with that feel, maybe it's going to be a little bit difficult. So that's why I've given it a 4 out of 5. But some guys watching this would love that softer feeling, you know, and for them it could be a 5 out of 5. But for me, just because that soft feeling, 4 out of 5. But the roll on it was really good with this insert. The only thing I would say is, you know, obviously you do have forgiveness there. If you have an absolute mare and miss the insert, then it's not going to end pretty. But then you have to have an absolute shocker of a putt to do that. But then I think we've all done it at some points. I mean, there's been quite a few times where I've hit a putt and nearly missed the ball. So lost that bit of concentration and it nearly ended horrendously. But anyway, moving on to feel. So as I mentioned, it is very soft. So I've given it 4.5 out of 5, you know, because for me, it's too soft. So that's why it's not 5 out of 5. For me, it's too soft. I feel like a putter, again, needs to be that little bit firmer just to help with that distance control, especially on those long putts, which I've just mentioned. But if you love the soft feel of inserts, you know, this is very soft off the face and it does feel nice. You know, it does feel quality. You know, it does feel like I'm hitting the ball off something that is, well, I don't want to say expensive, but, you know, well thought of, you know, well planned. Not just a putter off the back of a van that's been there for 30 years and it's just made of a lump of metal. You know, it feels nice, feels responsive, but for me, just a little bit too soft. So that's why I'm giving it a 4.5 out of 5. Moving on to forgiveness. What can we say about forgiveness? 5 out of 5. 5 out of 5. Big, you know, big. Loads of MOI with these weights in the back, pure roll insert in there, 5 out of 5. You're going to struggle to find a more forgiving putter than this. Yes, you could probably say, what about those zero torque putters to help align it? But then that's just down to your putting stroke. You know, if you play the zero torque, it's because you tend to do this with your putter. You know, if you've got a really decent putter stroke, well, you just, you know, hold it normal and do a normal stroke. You know, this is definitely going to have enough forgiveness for anyone in the world. 5 out of 5. You're going to struggle to find anything more forgiving than this. It's 5 out of 5. It's, yeah, 5 out of 5. Moving on. Ultimate forgiveness in this putter. Anyway, moving on to looks now. So, looks I gave a 2.5 out of 5. For me, the reason I've done that is, number one, I hate the way that Taylormade these cups just chip. And it really just bugs me because they can look tatty very quickly, especially some of the new ones. Not too sure about the gaps in it and everything like that. You know, it looks like an older Taylormade putter. You know, some putters in my mind are timeless, like Scotty Cameron's, you know, put Scotty Cameron blade in there. You know, it's timeless. It's a timeless piece. It works really well. It looks always amazing in my mind. You know, it's a bit of artwork. This isn't that. This is very much functional. It's big. It's chunky. It's going to be high forgiveness. So I mentioned it's going to have a really good roll on it. And that's the whole point of this. So it's more practical rather than a piece of artwork, which isn't the end of the world because, let's be honest, we want something that works. If it does look a little bit ugly, are we going to care if it's getting us you know, putts, well, as many putts as possible, well, at least amount of putts as possible, you know, we're not going to complain. But yeah, for me, it's a little bit of an ugly duckling, so 2.5 out of 5. You know, I do like the shape of it. I do like the alignment age. You know, I do like the white when it's in there, but it's a little bit too, and I like the bottom as well, to be fair. I think the bottom's quite cool. But yeah, not sure about these gaps. Obviously, they've taken out the more modern ones. So yeah, definitely prefer the new, more modern Taylormade putters. But I'm still giving it 2.5 out of 5. Just not really my cup of tea. Now on to price. The price is a bit of an interesting one for me because, you know, I was trying to find a Taylormade Spider like this, so the more traditional shape that everyone knows, for a decent price. And it's so difficult to find that. Lots of Taylormade putters out there for decent prices and everything like that. But for this, it's not. So, you know, this is 2011. I'm seeing ones on eBay go for £95, $125 roughly, £105, so what, just under $140, £72, $90, you know, £95, you know, $120. You're looking for one in really good condition around that £100 mark, so $130. Maybe, you know, if you're lucky, you'll get it for 70, 80, so maybe around that sort of $100 mark, and then great. But you know, they are holding their value. These putters are old and they are holding their value because they're still very popular. And let's be honest, you know, a big mallet like this is going to be just as forgiving and it's going to roll just as well as a big mallet that's just been released yesterday. It is. Doesn't matter what you can say. You know, it's all about the feel. If you like the feel of this, this could work perfectly for you. You know, obviously you get different inserts, but the roll on this is perfect, the weighting is perfect, etc. So, you know, that's why it holds its value. But I'd want it to be a little bit cheaper, to be fair. And all the other spiders as well, you know, you can pick ones up. You know, I think there's a Ghost version now, like version 3, for like £108, like brand new one. You know, well, hold on, I could spend £80 and get a brand new one, or probably pick that brand new one up for maybe £30-40 cheaper now, maybe even £50-60 cheaper, and I'm only spending £20 for a newer version. So yeah, and also, you know, it's things like this. You know, you got here, so another Taylormade putter here, the GT, definitely more up my street, I will say. You know, that insert there is definitely a little bit more firmer. You know, heavier putter, definitely more materials in it. I will say they do rust though, just a heads up here. These things rust if not well looked after, so do be careful. But this goes for pretty much exactly the same price as this on the second-hand market. And this is newer, pretty sure it costs more, a lot more as well than this one when it came out. So it's like, it is what it is, basically. If you're looking for a Taylormade Spider putter in good condition, you're gonna be generally spending quite a bit of money for a second-hand club. You know, these things don't drop. You know, you're not going to be looking at something going, oh, you know, 7-8 years old, I'll pick it up for, you know, X, Y, and Z. It's not going to happen, especially if it's in good condition. It will hold its value well. Very much the same as Odysseys. I mean, you can pick Odysseys up from like 2000 that are still like 70, 80 pounds. So, you know, Odysseys, Taylormade, you know, these things do keep their value. So for me, price, I've given it a 2.5 out of 5. It's exactly where I'd expect it to be. It's not a bargain in any means, but the price is where it should be for the market. And if you buy it, you won't be disappointed with it. It's definitely still going to perform with you, even though it's from 2011. Or, as I mentioned, go for something a little bit like that. So a little bit newer, different type of shape, but still a Taylormade putter. Or, you know, get a newer one for maybe £20-30 more. So there you go. But yeah, so 2.5 out of 5. It is there, but if you're looking for spiders, you're going to find it hard to find a bargain. You really are. They're very popular. They keep their value and they perform. You know, as I mentioned, this 2011 one is definitely really, really good. All right, guys. So there you go. I hope you enjoyed this review of the Taylormade Ghost Spider putter from 2011. Overall thoughts about it. Great, big, chunky mallet putter. Not really for me, but a lot of you guys out there will love this. Really soft feel on the face. Great pure roll. Great balance. But the price is what it is. You know, you're going to find it hard to find a bargain, and there's definitely other options out there, as I've just shown you, that you can probably get for the same price, which is newer, not going to chip, that doesn't chip, and look tatty after 2 seconds like the spiders tend to. All right, guys, now I hope you enjoyed this review. If you did, do give it a like. Comment down below as well. Do you play a Taylormade Spider? Have you managed to keep the paint in good condition? I'd love to know. And also let me know your thoughts about that putter. And also, if you're new to the channel, do remember to subscribe to it and hit that bell icon so you do not miss out on any weekly ACS golf reviews and more. All right, guys, I'll see you soon for the next video. See you then.